are here with Michelle Davies. She is an acclaimed healer with 30 plus years of experiencing helping over 57,000 people through natural and energy based techniques. Author of Miracle Worker and Mental Clarity, she champions integrity in healthcare. Despite challenges, she continues to inspire and empower others to reclaim their health and vitality. It's great to have you, Michelle.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this platform so that people like myself can reach more people around the world. I'm really grateful to you.
It's my pleasure to host you, Michelle. Let's start by getting to know you better. Can you share a bit about your background in self healing?
Yes. I decided to train as an osteopath when I was 13. And then I went to London to train in osteopathy when I was 18. And it was a 4-year degree. It was a Bachelor of Science in osteopathy. So I graduated when I was 22. And I have been running a private practice for the last 27 years. And I treat patients. And then I am an author of 2 books, and they are self-help books to be able to reach more patients than I can physically treat with my hands.
Initially, what inspired you to explore the field of self healing, Michelle?
Well, my great-grandma was a healer, and my mum is a healer, and my auntie is a healer. I have been brought up in the world of natural medicine. We didn't ever take medicine when we were younger, and I don't take medicine now, and I haven't had any history of taking medicine. It has always been natural remedies, herbal remedies, and my mum would give us healing and reflexology. And so I haven't really known anything other than that. For me, it was very easy to step into that field because I could see my mum making such a difference to so many people. And I thought, wow, I'd like to do this too.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, Michelle. Could you elaborate on what are the key principles of self healing?
Yes. One of the key principles of self-healing is taking responsibility. And I think when you take responsibility and create the environment that is needed, you can self-heal. We can all heal ourselves, but it does require an awareness and then taking a responsibility to create the environment for healing.
Could you tell me more about how do these principles differ from traditional medical approaches?
Traditional medical approaches tend to just treat the symptoms, whereas people like myself in natural medicine, we look for the cause of the symptom. So we look right at the root of whatever symptom that is, whether it's something mental, physical, or spiritual. We look for the reason for the problem, not just looking at the symptoms. And I would say that would be the main difference. And we rely upon the self-healing of the body to be able to repair as opposed to taking medicine or having surgery.
In addition, Michelle, can you explain the science behind self-healing?
Yes, that's a good question. We see the science of self-healing just when you have a cut, let's say a cut on your hand, and your body heals that cut without you doing anything. And that's miraculous in itself. But then we also see it with the heart. If you have a blockage in a blood vessel, your heart can make another blood vessel to avoid the blockage and to still circulate the blood. And another example would be in the brain, neuroplasticity. We can relearn. We can learn something that we haven't learned before. And they are good examples, I think, of the science behind healing.
Likewise, how can individuals start incorporating self-healing practices into their daily lives?
I think taking a small step every day, just something that's small but daily, and being open and trying something new, and seek guidance if that's required. Seek support and help along that journey, but take one small step each day.
Similarly, what are some simple self-healing technique for beginners can try?
The biggest ones I would say would be breathing, because if you learn how to deep breathe, which is from your stomach, your abdomen, deep breathing, and maybe breathing in through the nose, holding the breath for a short time, breathing out through the nose, holding the breath for a short time. This is incredible at helping us to get into the rest and digest, which reduces the stress. So many people suffer from the effects of stress, and the effects can be devastating. I think breathing, learning how to breathe from the diaphragm, and hydration, making sure that you are really drinking enough water, which not just water, but maybe eating foods that contain water. And just hydration, I think, is really key. The body really needs that. And reducing sugar, because sugar and processed foods, they are not good for the immune system. And that causes us then to be weak and more prone to being unwell. And sleep is really important. Having a good routine, a good bedtime routine, which we tend to think of that with children. But actually as adults, it's a good idea that we go to bed at the same time and that we wake up at the same time, and we don't need an alarm clock, that we create that habit that going to bed and waking up same times. There are a few simple ones that people can start with that would make a really big difference.
Following with our earlier conversation, how important is mindfulness in the process of self-healing?
Really important. It's free to do. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it creates you to be centered, and it puts you into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest, and that is through activating the vagus nerve. And mostly we live in the sympathetic state, which is the stress state.
Michelle, can you share some examples of how self-healing has positively impacted people's life?
Yes, I have hundreds of stories of patients recovering naturally. I'll share just a few of the highlights. There was a lady who had had a stroke. She was in hospital and she was given 72 hours to live. And if she survived the stroke, she would not be able to walk again. She would not be able to eat normally, and she would not be able to talk. They prepared her daughter for this. The daughter was in contact with me, and I encouraged her to play biofrequency healing music to her mother while she was in hospital every day. So the music was played to her. After 111 days, the lady walked out of hospital and she is eating normally and talking. So that's one example of the body healing itself with listening to biofrequency music. Another fantastic case history sample I could give you, where a young girl was struggling so much with anxiety and depression that she was self-harming and making attempts on her life. And she received 2 treatments with me, hands-on cranial sacral osteopathy. It's a technique I use. And within those 2 treatments, she was recovered. She was not self-harming and she was not making attempts on her life. And this girl is now at university, and she had spent 5 years under psychiatric support, medication, and she was hospitalized for it. And then other examples would be of the patients with chronic back pain who've had pain for 15, 20 years and have become pretty much disabled as a result of their pain. And they recover with just some advice, reducing inflammation, improving range of movement, improving alignment. And these patients heal naturally. Those are three great examples, I think, of where the body does its own thing with some support, with some guidance, and healing has happened. Miracles.
Nevertheless, how does self-healing address emotional and mental health issues?
Because I do a lot of work with patients suffering with anxiety, depression, and self-harm. And in all of these cases, I have found a brain injury. Now, a brain injury can just be from a concussion or a bang to the head, and even just the birth process itself. This injury to the head, it affects the lymphatic system. A lot of people are aware of the lymphatic system, but they haven't heard of the glymphatic. And the glymphatic system is our waste disposal unit of our brain. And if this gets stuck, clogged up, not working, it starts to create these behaviors or emotional feelings in these patients that are suffering with the anxiety and depression. And with supporting the glymphatic system, the self-healing enables them to heal emotionally. So their anxiety reduces or disappears, as well as depression.
In particular, what role does self-compassion play in self-healing?
Self-compassion is so important, as well as loving yourself and letting go of any feelings of guilt. It's really important that you have that self-worth. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you can heal and that you deserve to heal. And often that means you have to let go of emotions that you've been holding on to. And guilt is a huge one. And often we have to forgive, not just necessarily about forgiveness of other people, but actually forgiving ourselves and letting go of something. And I think that self-compassion is really key to someone being able to tap into their own ability to heal, their innate ability to heal themselves with self-compassion. I love that question.
Thank you. Michelle, can you discuss the connection between stress and self-healing?
Yes. Stress plays havoc. The body finds it really difficult to heal when it's under stress. This is because of the amount of cortisol, the stress hormone that's released when we're under this pressure. It affects our immune system. So we have to limit stress in order for us to heal. The gut relies upon a healthy digestive system in order for the immune system to function. 80% of immune issues come from the gut, and stress is really significant on the effect of the gut. We need to be in a rest state, so the parasympathetic state where we rest and digest in order for us to be strong and healthy. Really important to lower stress.
For instance, can you elaborate on how can self-healing practice improve physical health?
Yes, you can be physically strong, mentally strong, spiritually strong, just by having that self-worth, that self-awareness, and taking responsibility and promoting the environment for you to be able to heal yourself, create the environment that's required. And maybe that means taking some guidance and some support from other people who are professionals in those areas.
Besides Michelle, are there specific self-healing technique for chronic illness?
Yes. So I would say focusing on the gut, because of the gut health is so important for our immune system, and the deep breathing that I was mentioning before, because if you can breathe deeply and maybe practice different breath work, then you can go into the rest and digest. And then your immune system is much stronger. Also, reducing how much processed food, sugar, making sure that you're sleeping deeply, not just the number of hours that you sleep, but it's the quality of sleep. You need to be able to go into a deep sleep to enable your immune system to be strong. And you need to be hydrated. And your diet, preferably it needs to be alkaline and not acidic. So we want alkalinity within the body.
Exactly, what is the role of nutrition and diet in self-healing?
Great question. We need to live in the alkaline state. A lot of us are too much in acidity. And acidity is from sugar, processed foods, caffeine, alcohol, fatty foods that are fried. We need to do the opposite of that. We need to hydrate. We need to have fresh fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds, perhaps fish oils, and protein. We need a balanced diet. Yes, protein is really important. And what's really important is that we feed the brain and that we look after the gut. Things like walnut oil is really good for the brain, or just eating walnuts. You can actually take walnut oil. And then you might want to think about taking probiotics and prebiotics for the gut health. And you can do abdominal massage as well for the gut health. I forgot to mention that earlier. Just actually massaging the tummy is really effective at helping the gut.
On the other hand, what are some common misconceptions about self-healing?
I would say a misconception would be that you have to choose natural therapy or you have to choose medicine or surgery. And I think that the two can work together. I think that natural medicine, as well as, or natural therapies, natural healing, alongside medicine, can be complementary. It doesn't just have to be the one or the other. And you can actually try both.
By the way, what challenges do people face when trying to practice self-healing?
Skepticism. I would say the biggest thing is people don't believe it. They don't believe that they can get better themselves. And perhaps they don't want to take responsibility because it's an effort. It takes a lot. And you have to have an awareness over your body. You have to listen to it. When it gives you a nudge, because it's like you have a pain somewhere in your body, that is your body communicating with you to listen to it. And sometimes there's too much distraction going on. They haven't got time to be able to focus on the body talking. And then I think the people around you, if the people around you that you spend most time with are not into natural medicine, I think it's difficult for those people to then step outside of that circle and do something different. So society norms, that can be a problem.
Precisely, how can individuals overcome these challenges?
I would say just being true to yourself, spending some time, some quality time just with yourself, understanding yourself better, and spend time with people that are healthy and that are well, because then you can mirror them, mirror what they are doing. And also seeking guidance from healthy people, people that people that walk the talk. Because you wouldn't take financial advice from someone who's broke, just the same as we shouldn't take health advice from someone who is sick.
For those already familiar with self-healing, what advanced practices would you recommend, Michelle?
Energy healing. So the cranial sacral osteopathy it's dated from 1874. It's a long time, but it's alternative, it's complementary, it's different to what patients know. When they're struggling, it's not something that they would necessarily think about. But I would say energy healing, biofrequency healing, cranial sacral osteopathy, cranial sacral therapy, acupuncture, reflexology, these types of energy work.
On a different note, how can technology and modern tools aid self-healing?
I use biofrequency scanning. It's AO scan technology, and it's incredible. It's the future of healthcare. It scans, it's able to analyze 8,000 frequencies in the spoken voice, and it pulls out 12 notes, and out of the 12 notes, it can detect 3 notes, and 3 notes that are overproducing too much sound and one note that isn't producing enough. And this causes an imbalance in the organs of the body and our emotions. And with the technology, it creates music for us to listen to, which brings about this healing response. And this is what I mentioned earlier about the lady who'd had a stroke. This is the biofrequency music that she was listening to. And we recorded her voice. That's how the technology was able to analyze and be able to provide this music for the lady to listen to. The daughter got her to speak, which at that point was one grunt. That's all she could manage. Verbally, she was nonverbal apart from one grunt. But the technology still was able to pick up on that noise and was able to give this lady this healing music for her to listen to. And it's something that I do every single day. I scan my voice every morning using this technology, and I listen every morning to the 4 notes. It takes me about 13 minutes every day, but it sets me up for my day.
Based on your experience, what suggestion would you give to someone just starting their self-healing journey?
Take one small step every day, just one thing, and start small. And you could always build up gradually, but just being out in nature, using gratitude, like gratitude journaling is really good. Acts of kindness, because when you're kind to someone, it actually lowers your blood pressure and improves your immune system just by being kind. Gratitude, kindness, nature, prayer as well. Feeling the gratitude, connecting.
Speaking of, can you recommend any resources for further learning about self-healing?
Yes, my books. I would say my 2 published books are really good, even though I wrote them myself. The first book, Miracle Worker, it's a self-help book. And the second book, Mental Clarity, this has 10 chapters. And it's daily habits to reduce brain fog and improve focus. I would say these 2 books are really helpful for starting someone off on their journey. I really do go into depth about self-healing and how the body does that. The first book took about 14 months to write it. The second book only took 4 weeks. It was a different process. So I would say my 2 books. And I actually do have a gift for your listeners if they would like the gift. I can gift them a free PDF copy of the book Mental Clarity. So if they would like to, they can access this book and then be able to take these daily habits into their life, just one at a time, and see how much better they can feel with their mental clarity and their overall emotional well-being.
Looking forward, what are your hopes for the future of self-healing practices?
That everybody uses it, that it's not something that's different and alternative, that it's actually mainstream, the future of medicine. The work I do has been around since 1874, which is before pharmaceutical medicine. But I would love to be able to see that everybody feels that they have that power, that they can heal themselves, and that everybody would take responsibility for their healing and start on that journey. Have more awareness and more support, particularly more support from the medical profession.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
I would say listen to your body, listen to the whispers before they become screams. Your body communicates to you. Just listen to it and then seek support where you need it.